Okay, so it seems that we have some pretty big news regarding Twisty Amanozako, the VTuber for NIJISANJI EN. It seems like Twisty is now gone from NIJISANJI officially, as NIJISANJI have now put out a statement talking about the graduation, or I guess termination, of the contract with NIJISANJI, and we hadn't actually heard anything for quite a while, especially after this situation. If you guys don't remember, there's a whole timeline of things that went on. I've got previous videos if you want more details, but essentially what happened was Twisty got called out and caught being racist and transphobic in a league chat with some friends, and essentially this called her out to a ton of other stuff. And then obviously she talked about it over on a stream and apologized for it and just, kind of tried to explain her actions or whatever. And, again, you can go into all of that if you want to in the previous videos. And essentially after that, she then went to go and call out NIJISANJI as a whole and some of the malpractices and misconduct that's been going on within the company, which has kind of exposed a lot to do with it. And since then, obviously, all of her accounts have been, I guess, taken down, posts have been removed. The accounts are still there themselves, but the posts are gone, or the posts are protected, so you cannot see them anymore, even over on YouTube and other places like that. But the one thing that we didn't get was an official statement from NIJISANJI talking about this, saying that she was gone. It was just posts were gone. Now, you can see here, this is a post from NIJISANJI World, which essentially says, announcement regarding Twisty Amanozako's contract termination. NIJISANJI has terminated its contract with Twisty Amanozako due to confirmed instances of discriminatory speech, which is in direct violation of our contract terms and is not tolerated in our community. Which is crazy. I mean, obviously, yes, it's the right thing to do. I think even if this drama about NIJISANJI afterwards didn't come out, I think Twisty should have been terminated anyways for the actions that had happened behind the scenes. But it's crazy that they're using this as the reason to get rid of her, especially with the added context of what she's been doing and what she's been revealing about NIJISANJI in the background, They're not saying, oh, we're firing her because she leaked a ton of stuff that was going on internally. No, they fire her because of the, all of the other stuff. They fire her because of the discriminatory speech, things like that. They don't actually fire her because of the, other things that she'd exposed about NIJISANJI, which obviously we know is one of the other reasons as to why they wanted to fire her, but they wanted to make it look a little bit more, I guess, nicer, or make them look a lot better in the long run. And obviously they say, we appreciate your continued support as we grow together, and we remain committed to fostering a community built on mutual respect, creativity, and accountability. Thank you for understanding. Which is crazy, And obviously, as I said, yes, they should totally be fired for, the discriminatory speech and whatever. But at the same time, I think, just totally leaving out the fact that they, exposed a ton of stuff in the company and not even, kind of addressing a lot of the stuff that they exposed about the company is crazy, because they obviously know. They obviously have seen the stream. They obviously have seen what she's been doing over on her, indie account and things like that, and what she's been exposing about things to do with like Aster Arcadia and all of the other members as well, which has been, kind of mistreating, and there's been a lot of misconduct, which NIJISANJI hasn't taken seriously, by the way. Obviously, they kind of brushed it off, and there wasn't anything, big, come about it, or, there wasn't really a proper investigation into it, which obviously is terrible. And obviously, this person down here says in replies, thank you, NIJISANJI, we love that. Hopefully we can address Aster as well. I don't know if the investigation is going on, and to be honest, we don't know anything, but it seems he's been a weirdo going towards others. Yeah, true. So quite a situation happening. They said, yeah, cool, but any word on this? Obviously, they're talking about, some other stuff as well, including the investigation and some controversy. I said, I challenge you, NIJISANJI, to go 90 days without controversy, which, is crazy. They said, so we're going to skip right past the whistleblowing. Lamau, they said, what's her ult? I know she's got one. And if you guys want to see her ult, it's called Delulu Deliria, which is the one where she actually originally put the sincere apology in my truth. And it seems like she's been streaming every single day since this stuff has come out, which is crazy. Now, obviously, as I said, I don't really, I don't like the model that much. I don't really like the whole vibe of this VTuber, so I won't be watching personally, but maybe if you want to watch this VTuber, then you can. It seems like they are trying to do some other kind of streams and even collab with people, this early on. And, it's been like a couple of days and they're already collabing with other VTubers, which is pretty crazy. And obviously, yeah, they're just playing like some games and stuff, doing some karaoke, which I think is pretty fun. Obviously, they said couldn't even give her a proper send-off, which, yeah, is pretty crazy. It's like it wasn't even hard to give her this at the very least, which obviously is contract termination. They're talking about like a post because they didn't actually add the usual like white screened image, which usually happens whenever contracts get terminated or graduations happen. But again, obviously they don't want to bring too much attention to it. They said fired from NIJISANJI is the best thing that can happen to your career, which definitely is true. And obviously a lot of people were speculating at the fact that maybe this was Twisty's goal all along to actually do this, because Twisty seemed very unhappy at NIJISANJI, especially due to a lot of that misconduct that was happening. So I think a lot of this, especially with that leaked video, especially with all of this other stuff, people have been theorizing the fact that maybe they were released on purpose to get Twisty terminated from the company and to get rid of her because she didn't want to be there any longer, and obviously she still had to fulfill her contract. So the best way to get out is obviously to get it terminated by doing something bad, which is crazy. They said saw this coming. She'll do 100 times better as an indie. I mean, she's been doing pretty good. Obviously, as you can see here, these are outlier scores on the videos. They've been doing like 6x, 3x. The newest stream was 22x. Obviously that was probably since the announcement, which I think is pretty crazy. But obviously that's just based off of their previous videos. They haven't done any really new YouTube videos since their first ones or whatever, so again, you have to see if anything else comes from that. But they say of course this is definitely not because she exposed one of your talents as being a sexual predator, which is one of the main takeaways from this, I think, is that NIJISANJI is refusing to kind of comment on the fact that there are some people behind the scenes in NIJISANJI, maybe talent, maybe staff, whatever, who have been pretty much being sexual predators and just being weird in general, which obviously has been exposed by Twisty but not addressed at all by this company, by NIJISANJI, which obviously is just typical NIJISANJI, kind of just trying to brush things off and acting like this had never happened and the things are all great and perfect and there's all sunshines and rainbows literally everywhere. No, of course there's not. Of course there is still way more kind of under investigation in the background, but obviously they don't want to talk about it and bring kind of attention to it, which obviously just shows you the scummy nature of NIJISANJI. And even if they, they might not even be investigating it. I know I said, they're probably investigating in the background. They might not even be doing that, obviously due to what Twisty has said. They just didn't take any of this kind of stuff seriously, which seems like a horrible time for anybody wanting to get involved in NIJISANJI. I don't know how anybody even like picks up NIJISANJI and goes, yeah, you know what? I want to be hired by this company who's had a track record of a lot of people leaving, a lot of people saying there's been misconduct and some weird sexual stuff going on in the background. Honestly, I would stay clear of that. Obviously, I know NIJISANJI is a big company, so some people can get blindsided by that and just end up joining because it's big and, they will get a lot of attention. But at the same time, I feel like some people are now starting to shy away from the idea of actually joining NIJISANJI and instead waiting out for a better company that can maybe give them a little bit of a better time, And obviously, people saying like, and protect a criminal, a depraved abuser, sick and mental depravity guy, which is crazy. He said, of course, this is definitely not because she exposed one of your talents for being a sexual predator, which, obviously we read that already. He said, FUPOS company hiding a sexual harasser, just waiting until the person who complained has digged up dirt on them as it deserved. Not even a report page, bro, what? Said, and only NIJI EN announcement that doesn't make me cry. Said, damn, not even a blank page, which, is crazy. Said, could you all maybe have waited to announce this until it wasn't a Liver's birthday? Which, again, apparently, they did this during a Liver's birthday, which is crazy. But, obviously, people are still not happy with NIJISANJI EN, and people are still not happy with the situation currently. Obviously, as I said, they seem to be streaming over on Delulu now, so if you want to support them, you can go ahead and do that. Again, I'm not gonna like shield them completely, obviously due to the fact of them still making some pretty bad racist and transphobic comments. I think it's very important that a lot of people do remember that, but at the same time, obviously they've apologized, so it's up to you whether you want to accept that apology and move forwards and still watch them or not. I mean, it's really up to you at the end of the day. I won't be due to that fact, and I won't be due to the fact that I don't really like their model anyways. But as I said, you guys have your own kind of free will when it comes to that stuff. But that's pretty much the full update from NIJISANJI. This probably will be the last video on Twisty Amanozako, as it seems like there probably won't be that much more unless Delulu goes ahead and tries to, release even more information about it. But so far, it seems like there's going to be no more updates. And if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this, because again, it's a very interesting situation. I mean, there's been so many moving parts to this. So it's interesting. And if you guys did enjoy it, leave a like, subscribe, go to GameSubs, use my code Kaza, get 10% off again. And I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.